Yo, what's going on, man? Today is May the 20th, 2024. It's the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, WNBA Show as well. We got two WNBA games today, no NBA games today, but we will look ahead towards the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference finals. Super excited to jump into those as well. And we'll just jump right into it. Yesterday was a pretty good day, man. Made a little bit of money yesterday for the first time in a while. I did end up taking the Knicks money line minus the 155 on BetMGM. It was a loser, but I talked with some. Shout out to whoever mentioned it in the comment section as well. I went back and did a little due diligence. Seattle, New York, first half under 81.5 was a winner in the WNBA. Seattle minus the 4.5 played that about. As soon as I found out that Nneka Ogwumike was ruled out and the line didn't move, jumped on Seattle as well. And then I talked about my favorite bet yesterday being Minnesota, Denver under the 199. Shout out to the Timberwolves for advancing to the Western Conference Finals and holding the Denver Nuggets, I think, to 37 points in the second half yesterday. It was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful basketball to watch. Let's see. All right, so yeah, still been trashing the NBA overall. You guys see the updated numbers, but the WNBA has been treating me fine, man. Thank God for the WNBA. Been getting more winners there than I have been anywhere else. But 3-1 day yesterday, made almost a unit and a half. Been betting super light, but still been wanting to put some bets in for sure as well. So let's keep it pushing. We still got the ChrisBeCappinn t-shirt giveaway. For the members, if you guys are interested in trying to pick the correct, I'm not doing it for the NBA tonight, but for the WNBA tonight, but NBA game ones, just let me know who you think's gonna win and predict the score of the game. One guess per game, your first guess, your only guess, and you just got to make your guess before the game actually tips off. Winner will get a ChrisBeCappinn t-shirt. So yeah, let's jump into it for today, man. I want to go through the comments just really quickly before we get started. Prolific says, "Good morning, Chris. Ant-Man should be Dog Man because he is that in the end some." And yeah, shout out to Anthony Edwards, man. Not even necessarily, my shout out to Anthony Edwards isn't because he had, some kind of big offensive game or anything. I just think what Anthony Edwards did yesterday was special in my opinion, just because you typically don't see 22-year-olds take a step back like that, especially with their team down double digits. And I think that was the most impressive part about Anthony Edwards, in my opinion. Anthony Edwards really, played off his teammates versus forcing shots in a game 7 on the road. And I think that is why you got to give him a little bit of credit for sure. But yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about Ant just a little bit. What up, Markel? Wayne says top of the morning. Seattle Storm in a terrible spot. Still don't know if I can lay 11 with the Liberty. I'm right there with you, Wayne. We're going to get into that game in a second, but your thoughts are my thoughts, my brother. What up to my guy, Justin? He says had Knicks futures and Nuggets futures 3 times. Boy, oh boy, and Chris Boyce. But did hedge and put back and put some bucks on Pacers in the Timberwolves money line. Nice hit, but still took a heavy L. Not tripping. It happens. Yeah, that's a fact, Justin. It definitely happens for sure. What up to my guy, Fred? He says was good. Good call on the first half in the full game. WNBA been on fire lately too. Yeah, shout out to the W, man. I've been cashing in the W. Definitely trying to keep it going. Prolific, my brother. He says, "Good morning, Chris. Love the Timberwolves." He says, "Love that Timberwolves won. So sick of Denver." Yeah, Denver, man, it's tough, man. It's tough. I watched Inside the NBA late last night, and I agree with Chuck. It was my point too. Was he just didn't have enough depth off the bench. Losing Christian Brown. Losing Brown off the bench and losing Bruce Brown off the bench and losing Uncle Jeff Green. They also just didn't play DeAndre Jordan, who probably should just retire at this point, become part of the coaching staff. But yeah, they just a little too top heavy. Denver was. What up, Eric? Frank says both teams ran out of gas. It's crazy both dogs won yesterday. I thought that was the most interesting takeaway. Good morning, Mom Who Bets. Damien says he cashed on both Pacers and the Wolves money line yesterday. Hopped on the Pacers money line at plus 365 and points at plus 10.5 as soon as they open. Oh, for next game, he said Boston maybe got to get the rest off, and the Pacers playing in rhythm right now. Had to. Okay. Hernandez says Timberwolves NBA champs. Definitely got a future bet that I want to talk about with you guys in a second. Also, what up, Derek? He says Denver with the greatest choke job ever. I mean, they literally ran out of gas. Literally ran out of gas. The biggest halftime deficit overcame on the road in NBA playoff history for as far as Game Sevens. Hell of an effort last night by the Timberwolves, man. David says he cashed on this Pacers money line. 1780 Guap says the wicked witch of the West is dead. He's talking about Jokic, man. What up, Mark? So the Wimby says Envy versus Boston thoughts. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. And let's just do that, man. Mark says live betting Nuggets didn't work out. Yeah, not at all. And Shaq says shout out to the Los Angeles Timberwolves. All the Laker fans woke up happy this morning that Denver finally lost. I'm in that boat too, man. I don't even think it's a shade towards Denver. I like Denver. I like Jokic. I do think Jamal Murray should have been suspended for Game 3, but it's more so just I like the Timberwolves, man. I love defense, and they get after it, man. I love that they get after it on the defensive end. SK says he likes Tatum most threes in the series at plus 700 is great value. All right, let's get into it, man. Let's jump into it. So we'll go W first, and then we'll preview some of the NBA, a little bit of the NBA games as well. So this first game, we got the Storm in the Liberty. I don't even have a lot of notes on this game. This game, I saw it open at, I think it opened at 9.5 when the line first dropped, and it's all the way up to 11 on some books in favor of the New York Liberty here, and it's for good reason, man. The New York Liberty not only are the best team in the WNBA right now. This team is 3-0 straight up. They haven't been covering these spreads. I think they're just 1-2 against the number so far. But they've looked good, man. They've looked really, really good. They struggled out the gate in their first game against the Washington Mystics. But then they got 2 wins, and they have had a super easy strength of schedule. That's one of the things that kind of holds me up here too. I mean, they played against the against the Indiana Fever twice. Indiana Fever not going to be a great team out the gate. They are super young. Trying to get the pieces together with Caitlin Clark over there. So, and the Liberty didn't even cover in the second game against on Saturday against the Indiana Fever. So this will be their second home game, and they are a better team in my opinion. When you look at the Storm, and I don't think I saw anybody name pop up on the injury report for the Liberty either. So then you flip it to the Seattle Storm that's coming in. Like Wayne said already, it's a terrible spot for the Storm in this game. They are first off, they're road dogs on the second leg of a back-to-back. They did beat the Mystics yesterday. We got that one right, minus the 4.5, and we cashed on the first half under. But Seattle only had 1 day to travel from Minnesota on Friday, so they used Saturday as a travel day. Got to DC, beat them yesterday, and now you got a quick turnaround. You got to face the Liberty today. And remember, Neko Ogwumike did not play yesterday. She rolled her ankle on Friday when they were battling the Minnesota Lynx at overtime. So it's not a great spot at all. I checked I watched the game, but I checked the box score as well. And Seattle played their starter heavy minutes because they got down in the third quarter. They got smoked in the third quarter yesterday against the Mystics, and that's the biggest reason why I can't take them in this spot. So not only is it a third game in 4 nights, the second leg of a back-to-back, but it's also a spot where you had to overcome a huge deficit. And I can't remember exactly what the score was in the third quarter, but I know that they gave up 30 points to the Washington Mystics in the third quarter. And the Mystics not even a great scoring team without 2 starters. So they had to fight tooth and nail. Starters played heavy minutes yesterday. All of them played over 30 minutes yesterday, especially the key contributors. Real quick, let me just double check it. I want to tell you guys the minutes real quick. So key players, Ezzy Magabor played 37 minutes. So did Jewel Lloyd. She played 37 minutes, and Skylar Diggins-Smith played right about 33 minutes as well. And that third quarter was 30-23. So they had to overcome a little deficit. I think they might have been down 1 or 2, 3 points, something like that. And then they did outscore the Washington Mystics 22-11 in the fourth quarter to win the game by 9. But it's one of the reasons why they're supposed to get smoked in this spot. And it wouldn't surprise me if somebody rested. Seattle could potentially rest Nneka Ogwumike again early in this, just because the season's so early. Joel Lloyd could rest, or Skylar Diggins-Smith could rest, just because it is a third game in 4 nights. So I kind of want to get there with Liberty team total over. I saw them, fail to go over that team total against the Indiana Fever because they just didn't score the ball late, and they don't have that deep of a bench. So it does make it tricky to play this one. I think Seattle weighs down as the game goes on. So I'm not really looking towards the Liberty in the first half, but I can't talk anybody off wanting to play them early either. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comment section here. Jamie says, lifelong Pacers fan, and yesterday felt great. I bet it did, man. Shout out to Halliburton. He had the Reggie Miller choke MSG hoodie on yesterday. It was a cold hoodie. I got to give you one of them. And Jamie says he likes the Libs first half minus the 5.5. So he is thinking about playing them here. What up, Truth Teller? Jamie says game T-Wolves +5. I'm not even sure what this means. Jamie, what do you mean? T-Wolves +5. Oh, you cashed +5. I thought you was talking about something from the future. Okay. And Jamie says Libs first half over as well. I don't know, man. Seattle has really, really struggled to score the basketball. It's crazy because their defense has been, because their offense has been, it's predicated on, should be able to score the basketball with Nneka, Joel Lloyd, and Skylar out there, but they just haven't been able to score the basketball as greatly as they have been projected to score the ball. So I'm probably going to stay off the total in this one as well. And that's what we got so far. Let's go. I don't see too many comments. Let's go to the second game of the day, which is the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever. Of course, you got the Connecticut Sun laying 5 as road favorites here. Indiana Fever catching 5 as home dogs. Total sitting at 163.5. Hasn't really moved too much. This is a game, that seems like a really sketchy line. I was talking to my guy Jay Money about this yesterday, and the line seemed pretty sketchy because I told Jay, I said, I think this line's gonna open at 4. Well, I think it's gonna, stay at 4 for a second, but then it's gonna start getting bet up to, probably 6.5. And it's really because these two teams played. They played on opening night. We see the Indiana Fever get absolutely smoked in that game. Connecticut, I've been saying this for a while now. This team is also one of the undefeated teams in the WNBA right now. They beat the Mystics the other day. Didn't cover the number, but also beat the Indiana Fever as well. So they come in 2-0 straight up, 1-1 against the spread. This is a really, really good team. I did see Rachel Branham isn't going to be on the. She's going to be out of this game. I think it's concussion. So they will be down one bench player, but I still kind of feel like they got enough here to win the game. I did take the Connecticut Sun minus the 4 last night. Sent it out to the members. It's up to 6 now, as I kind of anticipated it would be. And Connecticut's they're a much better rebounding team. They're a much better defensive team. And one thing I was looking into from last year, because Connecticut does return a lot of players from last year, one thing I really looked into was Connecticut. I remember it being like this. Connecticut Sun defense on the road. They give up about 4 fewer points on the road than they do at home. So their defense really improves when they do go on the road. And I like betting on teams that can, they pack their defense in their suitcase and their travels with them. Same thing, kind of symbolic of what we saw yesterday from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Defense travels. Connecticut Sun, one of the better defensive teams. I think Indiana, like I said, I think that they're going to get better. I just don't think it's necessarily going to be against any of these really, really good defensive teams. We did see, them fight back against the New York Liberty in that game on Saturday and cover that spread. So they have been playing a little bit better. I just think, and you see Caitlin Clark kind of getting into a rhythm. She's gonna have Dejanay Carrington on her again, and this is great for her developmentally because her first 4 games has been Dejanay Carrington, Benajelani, and Benajelani again, and Dejanay Carrington. So these are probably WNBA all first defensive type players that she's been had to go against, and I just think it's going to continue to take some time. The Fever have some wins coming up. I think they have some much more competitive games. I think Connecticut gets this game done, and that's why I jumped on the line early. So I did take Connecticut minus the 4. Sent it out to the members last night. As far as the total in this one, it's kind of tricky because I think Connecticut can score. I think the Indiana Fever is still going to want to play with pace. I just worry about the Fever being able to get stops. We did see they've been a little bit of an over team just because their defense hasn't been as good. And as Caitlin Clark comes along, I think this offense is a bit better. You got Tiffany Mitchell out there at the point guard position, getting her feet wet as she makes her return. I think this will be a second game back. And Aaliyah Boston out there as well. Her offense is only going to get a little bit better also. So I like Connecticut, like I said, and I didn't really touch the total in this one. It's not something I feel comfortable doing right now. Let's see. Any thoughts on this one? Jamie says Liv's team total over for the first half he meant. Okay. Which is probably what? Liberty first half team total 170. I think it was 90. They were sitting at like 90 points last night. So you're looking at about 43 and a half, 44 and a half. It should be right now. And I couldn't talk you off that. Liberty been coming out and scoring the ball early. And I do think that Seattle gonna struggle. I think as the game goes on, Seattle should weigh down a little bit more though, especially being the third game in 4 nights, second leg of a back-to-back. Justin says Liberty first half would have to be a system play. Yeah, I mean, they do play really good basketball in the first half and kind of tail off like the Boston Celtics. So couldn't talk you off. I think I like the full game in this spot specifically a little bit more. Jose, what's going on, man? He says, damn, good morning. Me and my son took Timberwolves money line straight up. What a sweat. It was sweaty in the first half, not for the full game though. And Robert R says he cashed on Josh Hart under on his rebound. Shout out to Jay Money. I know Jay gave that out yesterday under 10.5. And yeah, you could tell he's kind of struggling yesterday with that injury, even though he still got out there and competed, man. Shout out to Josh Hart. Hats goes off to him for that. All right, next game up, we have we got the Pacers and the Boston Celtics, and it's really just a preview, man. Pacers Celtics, line sitting at 9.5. Let me just double check it. But yeah, I think line sitting at 9.5. Total is up from the 220 that it opened at up to 222, and yeah, this one is let's see, is 222 the consensus? Yeah, it is the consensus. So what I wanted to do today was I'm not gonna make a play. You guys know if I'm looking at this game, I'm only looking towards the Celtics in the first game. It's a fade of teams coming off of game 7. Yeah, you just want to fade those teams. Emotional letdown, especially as the game goes on. We saw the Boston Celtics in this very same spot against the Cleveland Cavaliers in game number 1. And they smoked the Cleveland Cavaliers in game number 1. Boston has 5 days of rest. I think it'll only be 2 days of rest, 1 day of rest for the Indiana Pacers before these two teams take the floor tomorrow. So major rest spot for Boston. I didn't play it yet, but I did a couple trends, and these trends have been apparent so far this postseason as well. So we got home favorites laying 9 points or more with more rest than their opponent, 20-1 straight up. 16-5 against the spread, about 76% there if you take Boston and lay the points. You also got road dogs coming off game 7 with less than 2 days rest. Just 8-20 straight up, 13-15 against the number. Average loss is right at this margin of 10 points. And you got dogs coming off game 7, facing an opponent with 3 days or more rest, just 9-21 against the spread. Road teams coming off of game 7, facing an opponent with 3 days more rest, just 8-18 against the spread. So all the numbers are going back Boston in this spot, as they should. The total in this one, tad bit tricky. I kind of feel like if you like if you think the Pacers have a chance, it's going to be because they play fast. I mean, they really just have one speed. And I do think that Boston is going to be able to score the ball against them as well. But this is what I wanted to show you guys. My charts, right? So depending on the size of screen you're looking at, I always say you screenshot it if you like. These are just the offensive numbers. This is Pacers offense versus the Boston Celtics defense so far in the playoffs. So this is first round, second round. You guys can see here, top left corner, that is offense I'm sorry, I put the same thing up twice. So that's not supposed to be there. Real quick, let me just flip through it real quick. So what this should say is, hold on, let me see. I probably can fix this. Hold on. We're looking for Pacers offense versus Boston's defense. Pacers offense versus Boston's defense. Okay, here we go. My fault about that. All right, so here, if you guys can see that is, see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Make both of them a little bit bigger so you guys can see them. All right, here we go. All right, so top left corner, we got the Pacers offense versus the Boston Celtics defense. So in the playoffs, excuse me, as you guys can see, the Pacers have been the best offensive team in the playoffs. Points per possession, number one, 125.9. First in effective field goal percentage, first in turnover percentage as well. Not turning the ball over, actually turning the ball over less than any other team in the NBA in the playoffs. Offensive rebounding rate, you can see that they're eighth. Free throw rate, they're not getting to the free throw line. 19th out of 20 teams that qualify for the playoff/play-in. And then net rating, you guys can see a plus 6.4. So this team is, when they do win by margin. And then you got the matchup against Boston's defense on the right-hand side. Boston has been the fourth best defense. Seventh in effective field goal percentage. They are not forcing turnovers. You can see there, forcing the third fewest turnovers. Number one in opponent offensive rebounding rate, though. They're not giving up a ton of offensive rebounds out of Boston Celtics. They're also not fouling at the least amount. And then number one in net rating, of course, as well, winning by an average of 12, a little under 12 points per contest. You keep going down, you can see the Pacers offense in transition. This right, let's see. Yeah, so I'm right here. This Pacers offense in transition, number one in points scored via transition bucket, seventh in frequency, number one in points per play as well. And Boston's defense, they've been really, really good, as you guys can see. Number one in opponent transition frequency. Boston has been taken away, letting teams get out and run in transition against them in the playoffs. Only allowing that to happen about 8% of the time. So major advantage for Boston there. If things hold true. And then you can see points off steals, points off live rebounds, which this Indiana Pacers team has done really, really good job of. But Boston's number one in limiting teams from scoring off a steal and off live rebounds. You can see that they're in the green, and they're second in live opponents scoring against them off live rebounds as well. So then we transition to offensive stuff, shooting stuff, right? Offensive numbers for the Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics defense. You guys can see here where the Pacers shooting the ball at the rim, 8th in frequency, 4th in rim accuracy, and then they're also number one in threes as well. All the way at the bottom, you can see the number one in all threes attempted as far as accuracy, shooting 39%, 38.5% from the 3-point line versus Boston's defense. You can see here, Boston giving up that above the break three. A lot of this, right? If you come all the way down here, a lot of this right here, they've given up 20. So it's out of 20 teams. They've given up the most above the break threes. A lot of this is because they run that drop coverage with Al Horford. Al Horford, especially without Porzingis being there, Al Horford drops, and it's a ton of threes. So this could lead to Tyrese Halliburton getting those looks, knocking them down, especially if he's going to continue to be aggressive. That above the break three should be there for the Pacers in this series based on the numbers for the Boston Celtics throughout the first two rounds. As far as the corner three, you can see Boston has been doing really, really well there. And Boston really hasn't protected the rim either, especially without Porzingis being there. We saw Evan Mobley have a really good series against them in the last one. 16th in opponent rim frequency, allowing teams to shoot about 71%. So some matchup advantages here for both. Now we can flip it, and I'm not gonna go through all of this, but you guys can look at this chart and use it for your own reference as you want to. We flip it to Boston's offense versus the Pacers defense, and you see major matchup advantages here. You can see the red right here. All the red is not good. That means that they rank in the bottom of these, categories. But this is Boston's offense versus the Indiana Pacers defense. Indiana been the first best offense. Boston's been the second best offense throughout the playoffs. Number one in net rating because they've been playing a lot better defense than the Indiana Pacers have. You see the Pacers giving up 119.4 points per 100 possessions. They're 12th in opponent effective field goal percentage. Allows teams to shoot about 54%. And Boston shooting 57% effective field goal percentage as well. Pacers not forcing a lot of turnovers, giving up a ton of offensive rebounds, as we saw the Knicks kind of dominate them throughout the second round. And also sending teams to the free throw line pretty frequently as well. Boston's offense, they're not pushing. All this is transition stuff. You can see that this is red. They're not pushing at all. Really just scoring in the half court. Boston doesn't push the ball a lot at all. And you can see the Pacers, they've done really, really well against, taking that transition game away from their opponent so far. That would be the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. So transitioning over here, where's Boston shooting the ball at? Above the break three. This is very reminiscent of the regular season. Number one in frequency, number one in accuracy, number one in all three-point accuracy for the Boston Celtics, and number four in all three accuracy as well, shooting about 38% in the postseason so far. And then you look at the opposite side as well, the Indiana Pacers, where they're giving it up at mid-range shots. Look at this, 16th out of the 20 teams so far. And this is Jalen Brunson just killing them right here in the mid-range, 46%. They've also struggled against the three-point line, which is not where they were during the regular season. You guys can see bottom right corner. Opponents they're 15th in opponent three-point accuracy, allowing teams to shoot about 38%. Does not bode well for them. So just kind of wanted to share this with you guys, so you can see, how I'm kind of looking at the game. Boston should be able to score. I'm only looking towards the over in the first game. Boston should be able to score. Maybe a Boston team total to go over to stay away from the spread. But I do think the Pacers going to play fast. And I think the Boston Celtics are going to invite that. The postseason, the regular season don't really matter as much because, you had some Pascal Siakam didn't play in those games. You also had Porzingis missed one. The game that Porzingis did miss, though, the Boston Celtics did lose that game 122-112. But I think this game will be played with pace. I think the Pacers will, try to run up and down the floor as much as they can to try to steal one. And Boston, I think, will invite that. Boston will be able to slow them down. And I think Boston's going to be able to score at will. So I do like Boston first. I do like Boston in game one. Never betting on the team that's coming off the in the really bad spot off of game 7. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. Because I know I said a lot. What up to my guy, Matthew? Robert says Pacers Celtics is tough. Got the over before it went up. Also had the Celtics spread first half. See, I kind of like the Celtics as the game goes on. If we remember back to the Cleveland Cavaliers coming off of game 7 against the Orlando Magic, it was a Cleveland Cavaliers spot. It was a Boston Celtics full game spot. Cleveland really ran out of gas in that fourth quarter, and I see the Pacers running out of gas in the fourth quarter as well. A Pacers fourth quarter team total under wouldn't surprise me at all in this spot here. Jamie says, I don't trust the Celtics at all for the rest of the postseason. May fade them first half. No dogs over there, in my opinion. First game, I think, is going to be a Celtic spot, but I understand what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying. TC and Bet says, put in the Suns Liberty Moneyline Parlay at plus 104 for the 30% WNBA boost on FanDuel. Couldn't talk you off of that at all. That's a hell of a parlay there. I hadn't thought about putting those together. It makes a ton of sense, and you get the boost. That should be good money. So you're not even drinking the juice there. TC Best, that's a nice one, man. Appreciate you for shouting that out. Mark says he likes the sheets. They're helpful. Glad they are. Justin says we all know the trend of Celtics losing game 1 at home. Is it game 2? It's game 2. So they've lost both game 2s so far, Justin. They've won game 1s, and I think they've covered both numbers as well. Joshua got it right here. He says game 2 that they lose. John says, which player you think has the most advantage for each team in the series? So, real good question here from John. I think looking at the Pacers, I think it could be I think they'll do a pretty good job on Pascal Siakam. They got a little bit more length than the New York Knicks did without OG Anunoby being available. After game 2. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Miles Turner for the Pacers. I think he has the best advantage in this spot, especially if Porzingis isn't able to go. He can stretch the floor. He can score in the little mid range. He got the push shot. He's going to play hard. And they only got Al Horford out there, at the center position. Luke Cornett, I don't think he's going to be able to move his feet as ladder, be able to keep up with the pace. So I think Miles Turner on the Pacers, I think he's going to have a big series. And then on the Boston Celtics side, man, probably Derek White. I think if I had to, probably Derek White. Derek White could be Dante DiVincenzo of this series, in my opinion. And we saw what Dante lit the Pacers up. Like I think he had 38 yesterday. He had a couple 30-point games, shot 9 for 15 from the 3-point line. Derek White could be the X factor for the Boston Celtics, in my opinion, because Nesmith is going to try to slow down Jason Tatum. Not sure how successful he's going to be there. You probably put Andrew Nembhard on Jaylen Brown. I'm not sure how successful he's going to be there, but Derek White can have a really big series, in my opinion. Joshua says Pacers fourth quarter under is a great look, fan. Yeah, I had a lot of numbers that supported that as well. I'm just not going to jump into it. I'll say that for actual game day. But teams that just won a game 7 that have 1 day's rest in between before they jump into the next series, they typically run out of gas in the fourth quarter, score about less than 25 points. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. Joshua says since Drew Holiday will have to chase Tyrese Halliburton, is under points a look for him? It could be. But the one thing I know that Joe Mazzulla is going to do is he's going to make Tyrese Halliburton work on defense. Tyrese Halliburton will absolutely have to work on defense. And everybody out there that's not named Derek White is a big guard. They're going to I can see them kind of putting Tyrese Halliburton on the block. Whoever Tyrese Halliburton is guarding on the block and just letting them go to work. And that's something that the Knicks necessarily couldn't do. Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson didn't want to play on the block as much. And I think that's one of the advantages that the Boston Celtics have. They should absolutely try to kill Tyrese Halliburton on the defensive end and make him work. Helms, we did discuss WNBA already. Markel likes Celtics 4-1. And Joshua agrees. He said, this series screams Derek White. This is his style. He can feel that. Yeah, and I think so as well. They might try to hide him. But so Helms, this is my point, though. You put Tyrese Halliburton on Drew Holiday to try to hide him because Drew Holiday hasn't really done much offensively. The problem with that, in my opinion, is Drew Holiday can take Tyrese Halliburton on the block and absolutely destroy him in the paint. Like Drew Holiday can play with his back towards the basket for sure. And that's one of the matchup advantages, I think, in this game. This show already taking longer than I thought, man. I did not anticipate this taking this long. Quick preview for the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. This line was at 4 when I made the graphic last night. I want to say it's up to 4.5 now. Yeah, 4.5. It opened at 3.5, and so money coming in on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And total hasn't really moved a lot at all. I saw it open at 206.5, come down to 206. I see a 205. I see a 206.5. So this game we played on Wednesday, not a lot of movement there on the total. People just kind of conflicted. It's definitely a lot of info. I see my guy Justin says a lot of info, and it's just something for you guys to kind of take into your handicap, man. I'm always trying to help. Y'all know that's what I'm here for. So let's start with the Dallas Mavericks offense. Numbers are here again for you guys. You can see that Dallas offense has been kind of middle of the pack. They're 9th overall as far as points scored per 100 possessions, 5th in effective field goal percentage, 15th in turnover rate, which is something that we hadn't necessarily saw from the Dallas Mavericks in the regular season. They were one of the better teams at protecting the basketball, but you can see that they turned the ball over, the 5th highest rate above all teams that qualify for all 20 teams that qualify for the playoffs. 3rd in offensive rebounding rate. They've really destroyed specifically the Memphis, the Oklahoma City Thunder in their second round against on the offensive glass. 8th in free throw rate, 7th in net rating, and this is Minnesota's defense, 5th in opponent point score per 100 possessions. They are forcing the 4th most turnovers, limiting teams to the 3rd fewest offensive rebounds. So that should be a place where they kind of neutralize Dallas at, because Dallas won't have that offensive rebounding advantage in this series, in my opinion. Not with the length and athleticism they have down there with Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Karl-Anthony Towns. They even got guards that can rebound the basketball as well. Jaden McDaniels. This is a much bigger team. OKC, part of their problem, in my opinion, was they lack size, and Dallas is running this to something different. This is not a team that lacks size at all. You can't see Minnesota's fouling a lot, putting teams at the free throw line at the 3rd highest rate overall. And then you can see the offensive numbers as well. Dallas in transition, you can see that they aren't really pushing the pace a lot. Look down here, they're 9th in frequency, but they are scoring. 2nd in points scored. I'm sorry, that's not right. 11th in frequency, but they're 2nd in points scored via the transition bucket. And you see Minnesota, they're giving it up 8th in frequency, but they are 5th in opponent's points scored per transition opportunity. So I'm not sure if that's going to be there for Dallas either. So far, just kind of going through this live, it looks like Dallas is going to struggle offensively to be able to score the basketball because those offensive rebounds won't be there. And, I don't think they're going to be able to get out and run in transition either. So here we look at Dallas shots. Where are they shooting the ball from? Boom, right there. You see it, dark green, corner 3 frequency. 14.2% of their shots are coming from the corner 3. You also see that they're shooting the 3-point ball at the 5th highest rate. 38% of their shots overall has come from the 3-point line. And they're 8th in frequency and accuracy, shooting about 37%. And the Timberwolves defense, 10th in above the break 3 accuracy, 6th in above the break 3 defense. So their defense, trying to take away their shot, doing it at a pretty good rate overall. Minnesota's defense is just, they were playing against, two of the better offensive teams that were in the playoffs against the Phoenix Suns, even though they locked them down. But Minnesota's defense is pretty good in all areas, just not great in one specific, at least throughout the playoffs so far. Dallas gonna have to make a ton of threes, though. They are gonna have to make those threes that the Minnesota Timberwolves were missing in yesterday's game. So flip this real quick. Now we can look at the Timberwolves on offense versus the Dallas Mavericks on defense. And this has been the story of the playoffs right here. The Minnesota Timberwolves offense, 4th in points scored per 100 possessions, 3rd, right behind the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers as far as effective field goal percentage. And Dallas defense also doing really good job as well. Minnesota 6th in offensive rebounding rate, 5th in free throw rate, getting to the free throw line. And they are turning the ball over. You can see that they're 13th for the 20 team so far. And then last but not least, you guys can also see here Dallas continuing to look at Dallas defense. Like I said, 6th, they really showed up. They really held OKC offense down, especially in that second round. Now you can say they did the same thing with the Clippers, although Kawhi Leonard wasn't there in the first round as well. Free throw rate, allowing teams to get to the line. Opponent offensive rebounds, you can see that they are giving up some offensive rebounds. Are the Dallas Mavericks? It's 11th in opponent offensive rebounding rate. And Minnesota, not a team that pushes in transition. You can see that. Dallas giving it up though. They are a team that allows you to run in transition. 16th was is their frequency as far as opponent transition opportunities. But they've done a pretty solid job in opponent points scored per 100 possessions. As far as shot zones for Minnesota, 2nd in rim frequency. This is a team that really loves to get downhill. Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, getting the ball to Rudy Gobert on the pick and roll. And outside of that, it's been that corner 3. You guys can see 6th in frequency, 5th in accuracy, shooting at about 41%. And Dallas's defense has been really stout, pretty much all the way around the board. You can see that they're, dark green or light green in pretty much every category. This team has played really well defensively so far throughout the playoffs. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So we'll jump into a quick recap. I got to get up out of here. Like I said, I did bet the Sun minus the 4. I really want to get there and figure out a way to play New York Liberty. I think the Libs are the right side. I don't feel comfortable laying the 10.5 because I've seen this team struggle to cover specifically in the second half. And then Minnesota, NBA champs, man, plus 290. I didn't even send this out to the members. I actually played it right before the show. The 290 was the best price that I could find over on FanDuel. But I just think I think the Boston Celtics are really, really good. I'm not going to get a Pacers a chance just because their defense does not play as well. And I don't think that they can win against some of these greater defensive teams. And then the Dallas Mavericks, I don't want to count them out, but I do think that they're going to be a little short in this series. Minnesota is healthy outside of Chris Finch. And, they've done, just as good with their assistant coach stepping into that spot. And I just think it's something about their defense that really, really travels. When you can go into Denver in a game 7 and hold them to 37 points in the second half, I think, Boston is flawed. Boston's going to really have to show the Timberwolves, in my opinion, because I do think that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get past the Dallas Mavericks and advance to the NBA Finals. And Minnesota got the most dogs left. They got the most healthy dogs left in the NBA. I think Minnesota's going to win the NBA championship this year. Not a super hot take, but I did play them plus 290 to win the whole thing right now. If they somehow lose game 1, you can get a better price to the Dallas, to the Dallas Mavericks. You can get a better price. But I like the Minnesota Timberwolves for sure. Let's see what you guys are saying real quick before we jump off of here. Joshua says that is public money. I love the Mavs. Minnesota coming off one of the biggest playoff wins in franchise history. Major letdown spot. I couldn't talk you off of that, Joshua. I didn't. That's why I haven't bet. I don't think I'm gonna bet game 1, because that's a very emotional win. A very, very emotional win. Biggest playoff win in franchise history. I probably agree with that as well. I think it had been 20 years since KG had won in this spot. So, yeah, I couldn't talk you off of that. It could be a big, big letdown spot here. And they're going to be at a rest disadvantage as well. 1 day rest advantage. 1 day rest disadvantage here. So I couldn't talk you off. The Quante says, how do I join the community? I'm going to need that WNBA model when you get it going. Yeah, so similar to the numbers that you guys just saw, it'll be similar. WNBA model will be just like that. I'm just kind of I want some games to come past first before, I lock in. It's only been, most teams in the WNBA have only played about 3 or 4 games so far. But yeah, the link for the membership, Perry, is in the YouTube comment section, in the YouTube description. So you just click that link and join up. And you have access to all of that. I'll share it out with you guys every day. Oh, my fault. I'm muted. My fault. All I really said was if you like, I don't know how I hit the mic. All I really said was if you like, I was going through that comment up there and I was saying that if you like Minnesota for the champs, wouldn't Edwards be Finals MVP? And I was saying that I like Minnesota whether Anthony Edwards win Finals MVP or not. I have seen teams win the Finals MVP and not necessarily, the best player necessarily take home that award. So. Yeah. I'm definitely not saying Mavs the 7 mark. I'm not sure how to see it. I haven't really thought that deep into it, if I'm being honest with you guys, about who's going to win, and how many games. I got to look a little deeper into it. I did put Boston team total over 115.5, 114.5, depending on what the number is on here as well, because I do think that they're going to score the basketball against the Indiana Pacers, who only want to play one way, and that's fast. So, these are the looks, man. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll go back and chop the show up. Appreciate everybody for tapping in as always. Resources listed there. Shout out to OzJam as always. Check them out if you guys are interested in joining up over there. Use code CBCO to get you 25% off your first month as well, man. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the W today. I know I definitely will. If you found the show helpful, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the show. Subscribe if you guys are new. Or if you're just lurkers, and link for all my official plays will be in the description. But Connecticut Sun, top player of the day for me. I did bet Minnesota, plus 290 to win the championship as well. Bet responsibly. Best of luck. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Have an amazing day. And I'll catch you guys later, man. I'm out.